What's up, everybody? This is the Act Man here, and today we have video game controversy number 12A-7B on our hands. It just doesn't stop. I know I'm behind on this, but EA has said some shit recently that I just have to talk about. Now, with the mass amount of layoffs that have been happening in the video game industry and tech as a whole, naturally companies are starting to seek cheaper ways to develop games. And they're looking at all types of cost-cutting measures. And what's this? EA embraces AI, says 60% of its game development could be impacted. Oh boy. And we all know how good artificially generated content is, right? Right?
Oh my goodness!
This is March 7th, 2024. EA CEO Andrew Wilson is touting generative AI's gaming potential just 1 week after laying off hundreds of employees. This really is a pattern in gaming right now. Studios are getting shut down, people laid off, and EA and Xbox are looking at extreme cost-cutting measures. Now, there are things AI can be good for, like with ChatGPT, it can be a helpful research tool, and AI upscaling resources can kind of cut some of the more tedious aspects of game development out of the equation. But I do not trust EA for 1 fucking second trying to develop games alongside AI. Wilson emphasized that these generative AI impacts will be positive, though it's unclear whether the tools will aid developers or just boost the company's bottom line. Which route do you think is more likely for EA to go down?
I'm in danger!
Wait, bro, what if we sold loot boxes again and used AI to generate what's inside them? Oh my god! If only we didn't think about this earlier. Now, the big question that remains to be answered, of course, will be,
is this good for the player?
EA's CEO claimed the publishers' game developers are already accepting and adopting generative AI tools. We see a real embrace happening inside of our company around these things that help them get to greatness much more quickly. Yeah, so saying this stuff like right after laying off employees, it's like, hey, robots are here to replace you. Oh my god, imagine if Ubisoft was doing like AI-generated side quests for Assassin's Creed Shadows. Holy shit, that would be so bad. Yeah, there has been some backlash from game developers, voice actors, writers, and other talent who argue that AI-generated content is lower quality and can't replace a human voice or experience. What are you talking about? The Day Before was fantastic. That was a breakout hit. So yeah, Andrew Wilson is saying that the game developers are already accepting it, and then we have former Dragon Age lead writer pours scorn on EA's AI dreams. What they took as excitement was really a veiled wall of despair. Gator remembers how excited execs were for live service games like Anthem and reckons they're just repeating a pattern. That seems very likely. EA sure is keen to start using AI in all its games, so keen that CEO Andrew Wilson can't stop chatting about it. In March, he was envisioning a bleak future where 3 billion people were using it. Now let's see this article. EA CEO talks AI, says the usual stuff before the bong rip hits, and he starts blabbing about a future where 3 billion people are creating EA's games with it. Okay, let's go back. So David Gator is a former Dragon Age lead writer, and he says, in case it's unclear, the hunger referred to here is the allure of a spreadsheet where the labor costs suddenly show as a teeny tiny bar compared to the other bars, and a bunch of execs around a table nod and repeat, return on investment, and good, yes, good, over and over again. God, I love the corporatization of video games. They want you to believe the devs under them are super stoked to work with generative AI into their processes, but I assure you what they took as excitement was really a veiled wall of despair. Not unlike the time that team was informed of their new, really cool live service mandate. Oh, Anthem. Now, David Gator is a BioWare veteran who left the company and its owner EA in 2016. His name is on all sorts of RPG classics, Dragon Age, Baldur's Gate 2, KOTOR, and Neverwinter Nights. It's also on Anthem, so he has some personal experience with EA and these new exciting mandates. But this is also another thing we've been seeing a lot in the last 5 or so years in the game industry. A lot of veteran staff are leaving these studios and or starting their own. It's not a good sign when all of the old guard, all of the people who used to make the games we love are leaving because they feel disillusioned with the industry and what they're being told to do, and the lack of creative control, and yeah, the corporatization of video games. Now, like I said, it's entirely plausible that AI can be used in video games in an ethical, good way, but if you trust EA to do things right,
Money. Oh man, I have to pay a microtransaction to unlock.
You ain't been around a long time, have you, partner? You're new to these parts. Also, because AI is more of a recent thing that studios are adapting, we won't know what's going to happen to games or how this will affect them for probably another few years until these games are finished, released, and we have like a sizable group of games to look at and see, okay, how was AI used in this? But there's also been studies that show that people don't like music or images as much when they learn that it's been produced by AI in some capacity. So the big trick will be, can they use AI to make video games that don't feel like they were made by an AI?
As the burned man. Can you tell us more about him?
I don't know what you're talking about, Joe.
Come on, Caesar.
On to the next topic. Do you guys like live services? I sure do. Do you like Battlefield? Hell fucking yeah. Been waiting for a good Battlefield game for like 8 years now. Well, then you're gonna love this. EA CEO says they've learned valuable lessons, so the next Battlefield is going to be another tremendous live service. I fucking love live service games and the continued focus on them. Blame it on the Battlefield 2042 players who made it clear they wanted an even deeper experience. So this is not a good thing to be hearing about the next Battlefield, because we heard the same talking points with 2042. And again, remember, a lot of veteran staff have left DICE, so it leaves some very valid concerns. EA has hosted an earnings call. Financial reports were just below what the publisher thought they would be. One of the big questions, however, is just what's going on with Battlefield. I've been wondering that for quite some time myself.
Yep, I think we're going the right way.
EA's one-time competitor to Call of Duty has felt way off pace in the FPS genre for many years now, and even rudderless. A perception not helped by the recent shuttering of an entire studio dedicated to Battlefield single-player experiences. Yep, again, another example, Marcus Lehto's studio. Marcus Lehto, one of the co-creators of Halo, was laid off, and his studio was shut down, and he says, I don't have anything positive to say about EA. You see a pattern in all of these stories recently, that there is this contempt for gamers, there's this contempt for the people who make and develop them, and they're not being treated right. And again, you have to wonder, with all these veteran staff being laid off and their studios shut down, how is this going to encourage new developers to step up to the plate? Are people going to want to work in the game industry when there's so many examples, when it's such a volatile place to work in? I don't think so. EA announced that Motive, developers of Dead Space Remake, was joining the wider Battlefield team, which includes DICE, Criterion, and Ripple Effect. This is the largest Battlefield team in franchise history. Yes! Yes! You said this once before, and it turned out awesome. They don't. I swear to God, I could not have posted the Why Are AAA Games Getting Worse video at a better time when I talked about too many cooks in the kitchen. Largest Battlefield team ever. You said the same thing with 2042, and it was a complete fucking disaster. This does not inspire confidence or faith in the next Battlefield game. According to Wilson, this team will build a Battlefield universe across connected multiplayer and single-player experiences. I suppose that's a bit of a silver lining, that they're going to try to have a campaign or a single player, but Battlefield typically does not have good single players. I remember the war stories in Battlefield 1 being pretty good, but they also just shut down Ridgeline, who was going to work on a single player. So you can kind of tell where this is going. Wilson says Battlefield 2042 players apparently, quote, made it clear that they wanted an even deeper experience. I think they just wanted a good Battlefield game that wasn't a fucking Overwatch ripoff or a Tarkov clone. I think they just want Battlefield to be Battlefield again and not deal with all this fucking like classes and wasting so much time developing an extraction shooter that nobody ends up playing. And I feel like there's this continued disconnect people have with live service games, and that, look at Helldivers 2. It's really not promoted as like, oh, this is the best live service game ever. It just is. It just is. You should be promoting Battlefield as, we heard your feedback, we're going back to our roots, we want to make a game that Battlefield fans are happy with, that provides all the content they want on day one, and then we'll build on that with a quality, consistent live service. But you're starting off out the gate, hitting all the things we don't want. AI generated content, largest Battlefield team, didn't work out well. Tremendous live service, all just like meaningless buzzwords that don't have the same weight they used to. Also, this talk of using AI reminds me of when some developers started talking about adding NFTs to their game and what a shit idea that was and how that went nowhere. I'm honestly surprised EA didn't try to go down the NFT route. Also, quick side note, remember Ascendant Studios, the developers behind Immortals of Aveum? A game that had a ridiculous budget and did not sell very well? Well, it looks like EA is diverting 100% of the net sales revenue to that studio, meaning that EA Games will not get any money from the sales of this game. Now, that could illustrate what a dire position Ascendant Studios is in, and it's possible they will be shut down in the future, who knows? But for now, good on you, EA. Good on you. You get a point for that one, at the very least. Man, I miss Battlefield 1. This got me thinking about all the fun time I've spent playing that game in the hundreds of hours. I really just want something that's as epic as that game. I loved Operations, and to this day, Battlefield 1 still looks amazing. I remember watching a video a while back about how BF1 is the main cause of the franchise's decline because EA saw the success of Battlefield 1 and how Battlefield 1 was responsible for this more casual, focused direction that the series has gone in. And to be honest, I have very little experience with Battlefield outside of 1, but that game was just so fucking good that I wanted more. And I didn't really like 5, and of course I didn't like 2042, so... What? So I think there's definitely a connection between the space in between Battlefield releases, the quality of them, and that they're now prioritizing AI stuff. Battlefield is one of Call of Duty's like main competitors, and it's been absent for a very long time, or at least it hasn't been as relevant. Now, it's also entirely possible that when Andrew Wilson is talking about using AI, he's referring to less controversial things. You know, stuff that's not going to replace voice actors or artists, but rather using AI for things that are more tedious in game development. And that's understandable. It's just that I think they're probably going to go the wrong direction with it. So with the layoffs, with the AI, with the tremendous live service, and with the biggest Battlefield team ever, things are looking pretty worrisome. I can't imagine anything getting... I'm sure this is the end of concerning statements made by EA. Uh-oh! After calling the next Battlefield another tremendous live service, EA CEO threatens to put ads in AAA games. What are you doing? Why would you say this? Why? Think of all the horrible scenarios where you could put ads in a video game.
Want a break from the ads?
Also, I like how he says another tremendous live service. I don't think the Battlefield series had one with 2042 or Battlefield 5. What was perhaps more controversial was Wilson's comments about implementing advertisements into traditional AAA games. Advertising has an opportunity to be a meaningful driver of growth for us. We just want to make more money. Don't care how this affects the player's experience. I mean, they've already done this in like FIFA and Madden, to my knowledge, but a lot of people that play those games don't give a shit about if the games are good or pro-consumer or not, which, you know what, fair play to you, but that type of shit is not gonna fly with like Battlefield or any other kind of game. We have teams internally in the company right now looking at how we do very thoughtful implementations inside of our game experiences. This is like in-game advertisements. I already purchased your product. I don't want to see ads for other products. I mean, that's what the main menu is for. Isn't it enough that the main menu already sells us on DLC and you already have stores? Like most games have an in-game store. That's not enough? I don't get it. I don't get it. Well, no, I do get it. It's money. I want money now. But man, I really just want Battlefield to be good again. I miss it. I just want a new game to be excited. I mean, you look back on a Battlefield 1 trailer and that shit has like 72 million views. People are still going back and rewatching it. And with statements like these being made by leadership, it doesn't instill much confidence that we're going to ever reach those same heights or even get close. So yeah, not much has changed with EA. Andrew Wilson is still saying some dumb shit. Layoffs continue to devastate the video game industry, destroying creativity and creative studios. And I don't have much confidence in the next Battlefield title when I'm hearing stuff like this. But what do you think? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to Actman TV for more awesome content. All right, everyone, that's all I got for today. This is the Actman signing out. Peace.
Want a break from the ads?